Hello guys, welcome back. So today we'll be starting with a new topic, that is sternum and ribs. First let's know about the sternum. So sternum, sternum, that is also known as breastbone. From the first video I have already named the sternum a lot of times. So now let's know about this in detail. It's also known as breastbone, and you have to remember something, that it is used for bone marrow aspiration, especially in case of leukemia. Now, leukemia is a cancer of your blood forming tissue, And so now let's start. Your sternum is mainly divided into three parts. So this is the manubrium. Draw this simplified version. In the next slide, then we'll look at the real picture of the sternum and we'll revise from there, Manubrium, this is the body, and this is the xiphoid process. So here you can see this depression, right? This is called as sternal, or it is called as jugular notch. You can feel it right where your neck ends and your clavicle meets. You can feel a depression. That depression is your sternal or jugular notch. Then I have made here this depression kind of thing. This is the sternal depression where your clavicle's medial ends will meet. So this here will form the sternoclavicular joint. We gave in the clavicle video, I told you that the clavicle will be having a lateral end, which will be acromial end, and the medial end also known as the sternal end. And this second depression which you see, it is for the first rib attachment. It's the articular facet for the first rib. Articular means joint facet for the first rib. Now you can see in this first, then there's a line separating, and here is the angles forming. So this line which is there between the manubrium and the body, we call this as sternal angle, or we also call this as angle of Lewis. Now it's important because it marks the level of second costal cartilage. So when a rib attaches, so if suppose this is a rib, then they will be having this costal cartilage which will be attaching to the sternum. So remember this thing, that every rib directly doesn't attach. There's a costal cartilage present and then they will attach. So sternal angle, angle of Lewis done. You have to remember few things about this, that carina is present here. Carina is what now? Carina is a place where your trachea will divide into two primary bronchus, the right and the left primary bronchus. So that is carina. Carina is present here, and aortic arc ends here. Aortic arc, when we were doing circle of Willis, I told you about the aortic arc. So aortic arc will end here. So these 2 points you have to remember regarding the sternal angle. And now let's look at the body. So body is having a lot of facets. You can see this, right? So the body, what do you have to know about the body? The body will give the rib attachment, rib articular facet for how many ribs? From third to rib 3 to 6. To be exact, rib 3 to 6. And then we have this xiphoid process. Now the xiphoid process is a conical shape. So the xiphoid process, it will ossify. It hasn't ossified in me, neither in you. It ossifies completely at the age of 40. You have to remember this, and it is present at level of T9 vertebrae. Present at the level of T9 vertebrae. And then you can see this in between, right? It is present on the superior aspect of the xiphoid and the ending place of the body. So this is the 7th articular facet. As I said before, this rib articular facet, this body has this articular facet for rib 3 to 6. So 7th is present very inferiorly to the body and superiorly to the xiphoid. So 7th articular facet. Rest all the ribs from 8 to 12, exactly from 8 to 10 will attach to the 7th costal cartilage. 7th ribs costal cartilage. We'll be doing this when we will be doing ribs. So for now, just know that manubrium body and xiphoid process is done. What is present where you have done this jugular notch? Remember, it's present at T2 level. Where is it present? At T2 level. So I guess we are done with the sternum. Let's revise them in the real picture. So here you can see clearly, right? Draw the previous picture which I have drawn. This is for you to know clearly. So as it is given the sternal notch. So it has this clavicular notch. This clavicular notch is where your medial end of the clavicle will attach. Then you have the manubrium. You can see the second costal notch, right? The second costal notch is for the second rib. Then you have the third costal, fourth, fifth, and sixth. To be exact, see, from 3 to 6 the body contains, right? Then the xiphoid process will, in very superiorly, it will have this 7th costal notch. So this was the anterior view. Now let's look at the lateral view. From the lateral view, you can see there are facets. These facets are for the costal cartilages of the ribs to attach. Remember it, Now I have this picture of this tie. So everyone wears this tie. So remember this as the sternum. It's very easy. You have this manubrium. Then you have the body till here. Then you have the xiphoid process. So whenever you wear a tie, now remember how a sternum is there. Understood? So this was just for the example purpose so that you can remember. Where does your tie lies? Right in front of your sternum. So never forget where is your sternum present. Right in front of your chest. Okay. Behind that lies the important organ. So the fracture of the sternum is very dangerous. Okay. Now let's move on with the ribs part. So you have 12 pairs of ribs. Right. Among them, 1 to 7 rib is called as true ribs because they attach to the sternum. Then 7 to 8th rib will attach to the costal cartilage of the 7th rib. So they are called as pseudo ribs. Pseudo means false. What does pseudo means? It means false. They are called as false ribs. Now 7 to 8th, I forgot, I wrote it wrong. It is 8 to 10th. Now 11th and 12th rib, they are called as floating ribs because they don't have the anterior attachment, that they will neither attach to the costal cartilages of the superior ribs, neither they will attach directly to the sternum. So they are called as floating ribs. Don't have anterior attachment. Why? Because they ends in the abdominal musculature itself. As they end in abdominal musculature. Okay. So now see here, you can see first rib, second rib, 1 minute, I'll change color. First rib, second rib, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. All are attached to the sternum, right? But from 8 to 10th, you can see they are attached where? They are attached to the 7th costal cartilage. Now 11th and 12th, you can see they are not coming forward. Okay. They are not coming to the interior aspects. That's why they will be termed as the They will be termed as the floating ribs. Now let's look at a single rib in particular. So this is a rib, okay? We are looking at it from the front side. So as you can see, 1 minute. This rib I have drawn 2 circles, okay? These are articular facets. Now this above articular facet is for the articular facet for vertebrae above. Now what does that mean? I'll explain you right now. And this is for articular facet. This is also articular facet for corresponding vertebrae. I'll explain you this in few minutes, just wait. Then you look at this, right? This is the tubercle of the rib, what it is called as tubercle of rib. Now, this is something you should know, that this is termed as the head of the rib. Okay, this whole part is the head of the rib. Till here you will have the neck of the rib. And then you will have this body, or you can call this as shaft of the rib. Okay, so this which I've colored is the head of the rib. The diagonal lines are the neck of the rib. Neck is doing nothing, but it's connecting the head and the body, okay? And neck will have this tubercle. And then this is the shaft or the body of the rib. This is the view of a typical rib. Okay, how a typical rib looks like. I'll explain you that our superior articular facet of the rib and that it corresponds with the above vertebrae, and one facet will correspond with the corresponding vertebrae, what it means over here, okay? So now suppose this is thoracic vertebrae T2, this is T3, T4 and T5. I've already drawn the simplified picture. So here you can see this is the rib. So as I said before also, this rib will be having at the head part 2 facets. The above facet will be for which? The vertebrae above. And the lower facet will be for the corresponding vertebrae. So this is rib 3. So corresponding vertebrae should be which vertebrae? It should be T3. So lower facet of the rib 3 is attaching itself to the T3 vertebrae. Superior demifacet. When we were doing vertebral column, I explained you that thoracic vertebrae has 2 demifacets, the superior one and an inferior one. So this is the function of it, okay? As you can see, then in the rib 3 only, the above is attaching to the inferior surface of the T2 vertebrae, okay? Similarly, see rib 4 is attaching to T3 also, T4 also. So lower attaches to the corresponding lower facet of the particular rib will attach to its corresponding vertebra. So rib 4 with T4. Understood? So this was about it. Let's look at the inferior surface of the rib. What happens is this shaft, it forms groove for neurovascular things, for neurovascular supply. Now neurovascular supply means what? Nerves and vessels. So what is the position of the nerves and vessels? So this was the rib. In this rib, on the top will be the vein. On the top will be the vein. So blue color vein. Then will be the artery. Then will be the nerve. Okay, like this they will flow in the inferior surface. So write it down like this. In the inferior surface of the rib, or you can say if you look at the rib, in the costal groove, write down this VAN. What will you write? VAN. V stands for posterior intercostal vein. Similarly here, posterior intercostal artery, and similarly here, posterior intercostal nerve. So remember this VAN, and this direction which you saw, this direction is anterior to posterior direction, or you can say top to bottom direction, okay? So that was about the ribs. I hope now everything is clear about the ribs also. And this tubercle of rib will attach to the transverse facet of the thoracic vertebrae. Okay, I have said this about where the head will be attaching, where the tubercle will be attaching in the vertebral column itself. So I hope now everything is clear. Now there's one more thing. Let's know about in detail, that we do something called as pleural tapping, or we do pleuracentesis. Or doing pleuracentesis. Now in this, what happens, we inject a needle for doing pleural puncture. Okay, we inject a needle at the upper boundary or inner surface of the rib. So suppose this is the rib and this is another rib. So where do we attach the needle? We will attach the needle over here. Okay, or we can say we are attached, basically this is rib 4, this is rib 3, suppose. So I am attaching, I'll put the needle through here. So this would be considered as the inner surface, this could be considered as the superior surface. Okay, that is what I meant. So needle is injected at upper boundary or to the inner surface of rib. Okay, now why it is done? To avoid the damage to the costal groove, because costal groove was having what, neurovascular supply, so we cannot damage that part, right? It will be a serious condition. And then ribs to sternum will attach self by sternocostal joint. As I said before, every rib will attach to the sternum by the cartilage. So sternocostal joint. And the sternocostal joint has two types of joint. One is costochondral, where ribs are attaching to the cartilage, costochondral, and the another is chondrosternal, where the cartilage of the rib will be attaching to the sternum. Okay, so this was the sternum. Okay, and here were the facets. So suppose this rib is attaching, let me note 2 ribs, then this is the costal cartilage of the rib, right? So here you can see what? You can see that this here it is called as costochondral, and this here you can see this is chondrosternal joint. Understood? Now they ask the MCQ that the first sternocostal joint, we have something called a joint classification. We have many types of joints. So this first sternocostal joint, it is primary synchondrosis. It is primary synchondrosis. Okay, it is a cartilaginous joint. Remember, primary synchondrosis means what? They are temporary, first of all. We have primary and secondary. These are partially movable joints. Okay, so this is primary, and the secondary we have done it in case of vertebral column. I told you that is symphysis. If answer is not given symphysis, we go for synchondrosis, because these two, synchondrosis and symphysis, both comes under a category that is known as cartilaginous joint or partially movable joint. Okay, and all other sternocostal joints are plain synovial joint. What it is? Plain synovial joint. So remember this at any cost. Okay, so you have to remember one more thing about this pleural puncture. If there is pneumothorax, what do you mean by pneumothorax? Pneumo means air. So if there is air in thorax or air in intrapleural space, what is intrapleural space? Like brain was covered by meninges, same way lungs are covered by pleura. So between the space between the pleura is called as intrapleural space. I'll be explaining you this in detail when we will be doing the lungs. Okay, here the puncture is done at second intercostal space. You have to remember this, it's clinically important. Second intercostal space at mid clavicular line. In the very first video I explained you these lines, so now I hope you understand the importance of it. And hemothorax, hemo means what? Blood. So it means blood. So blood in intrapleural space. What will hemothorax mean? Blood in intrapleural space. So what do? We again are doing the puncture. Puncture is done at fifth intercostal space at mid axillary line. Fifth intercostal space at mid axillary line. We have done this line as well in the very first video of anatomy playlist. Okay,